I speak the truth when I step in a room. Don't need an excuse. Know how I do, yeah. I be dropping gym dropping gym dropping. I speak the truth when I step in a room. Don't need an excuse. Know how I do, yeah. I be dropping gym dropping gym dropping with Caleb and Delon.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Gym Dropping Podcast, where it's our platform, our opinion, but your problem, but you're going to get this truth. Today we have a very, very special guest, a giver of the community, my man, Mr. DJ, Coach Tay, of Direct One Mentoring Program. We're going to get started. Mr. Caleb is going to, dive in there here in just a second, but we wanted to give a proper introduction. We love people who give back to the community. His brother has a very special mentoring program that we want to discuss and talk about. So tune in. We got some gems going to be dropping.
Bro, so first off, I want to say I'm proud of you, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I am
sir.
proud
Yes,
of
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
You doing your thing. We see you with the kids a lot, bro. You got the kids on the TikTok.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm
most
saying?
definitely, most
Exposing them,
definitely.
doing them
definitely.
dirty sometimes.
Most
Like
definitely.
his own kids?
No,
You know.
so this is the
mentoring kids.
Yeah. You know, y'all doing movie scenes, hilarious.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So tell us about that program and how did this thing become?
You know what, man? Direct One. Actually, it birthed in the living room of my home. I was really just released as a coach from another team, and I was just like, man, you know what? We need something that's bigger than just sports. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I'm always looking. I think that ministry doesn't just happen in the church on a pedestal. It happens everywhere. You see what I'm saying? So we're all going to the same place and reaching the same goals. We're just doing it in different ways. Yeah. And so my calling was to say, hey, how can I be a part of what God is doing? And so I just sit still and watch God move. And that's kind of how that transpired. It's like, man, a vision just came and said, you know what? You can do sports and you can also do mentor along with that. It doesn't have to just be sports, because if you really break it down, man, the sports community is on a whole different level now. It's just competitive. Most coaches, they care about wins and losses, and to me that doesn't matter, man. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Who's counting that? So I want the kids to have a platform where they can learn, social skills, development skills, mentor stuff, things that we take them out, we go fishing with them, just a variety of different things to make them a well-rounded.
And that's huge. And what have you seen? What was one of the biggest impacts that you've seen, or a statement from a parent that gave you an accomplishment that made you feel like you had a purpose in this, and this is what you're supposed to be doing?
I'll tell you this, it started in my neighborhood. So I had these young men who were in my neighborhood. They were running streets everywhere. So I just kind of got a hold of them, and so taking a hold of them, I held myself, kind of accountable as a male role model in their lives. And I think what hit me, I didn't know how big of the impact that I had until one of the young men stopped by my house and he said, hey, I had a young daughter and she's doing good, and man, I just want to say thank you, because you just kept me on the right path. And then in that same week, mother stopped me and she said, hey, Coach Tay, we was passing in traffic, and she said, hey, she honked her horn, she stopped. She said, hey, Coach Tay, I just want to say thank you. Can you mind if I give you a hug? I said, yeah, for what though? She's like, man, for just helping raise my boys and making sure, that they stayed on the right course. And to me, that was most impactful. And so I was like, man, that touched me in a place. I said, oh, okay, I know what God wanted me to do now. Yeah. So man, when that's how that birthed, man. And like I said, I've been going hard at it ever since.
So real quick, how does that, I know you great with your kids, bro. Yeah. How do your kids feel about, of course, they're already in the mentorship too, but sharing their dad. Sharing their dad, because that's huge, bro.
No, that is big, and you know what? I think it's a struggle. I don't think people really recognize what all comes along with this territory. It's definitely a struggle in itself, because it's all about balance. Life is about balance, and but I do take time and say, hey, you know what? I always tell myself I have to be better at that. Every day, And that's one of the things that, of course, as men, we always got stuff to work on, you know what I mean? So I have to be better at balancing my time. And so sometimes I do take a step back and realize, oh, hey, you know what? Maybe I should ask my daughter to go for ice cream with me, And so it's just the little things, because for kids, it's just all about time, So, but you know what? I'll tell you like this. Like I told my son, I said, listen, I know what kind of man you're going to be, because you're a reflection of me. So I see what you're doing. I see how you move, and I don't take no mess. Right. And so having those other kids see how I react to him, I hold those same expectations over them. And so what I'm really building is a brotherhood, a sisterhood within the system. So man, it's just like they hold each other accountable. I would rather them be in the facility where I can see, okay, cool. Now I see how my son reacts. Right. You know what I mean? Now I see how a lot of parents don't see how their kids react when they're not around. So man, you know what? To answer your question, I would say I know it's definitely a challenging, and my daughter gets on me all the time about balance. But they're getting older, and they want to be around their friends. And so man, it's really one of those. It's starting to balance out, a lot more. So yeah, it's definitely like at first it was a struggle, but man, trust me, it all works itself out.
Well, I'll ask you this. So I'm interested in your origin. You know what I'm saying? As Coach Tay. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's Coach Tay from?
Gotcha.
Where did he grow up?
Gotcha.
What were some of the struggles
yourself
that you might have dealt with growing up?
Man, you know what? I was originally born. I was really born in Kansas City, Kansas. I end up, You know what?
The dot?
So the
dot?
The dot.
Okay.
I had no choice in that. But you know what? In probably 6th grade, what happened? I had a reality check.
And so for those of you that don't know, Kansas City, Kansas,
there you go.
And Wyandotte County has historically had a reputation for being a very rough part of Kansas City. And it's a lot of crime, it's a lot of, bad play, out in that area. So that's why we gave the reaction that we did. But.
Yeah, most definitely. And, it was one of those things to where, I had some rowdy cousins and stuff. And so my mom was just trying to transition and move us away from that. So she said, hey, let's move to the Missouri side. And so since 6th grade, I've been on the Missouri side. But man, it was one of those things to where, as a kid, I was a loner for real. I really, because I knew where I was going. I had a father, but I didn't have a father. So I had a father, but he wasn't involved. So I knew who he was, but he wasn't involved at the time. You know what I mean? So at the time he was battling his own things in life. Right. And so, so I was as a man, I'm trying to find out who I am. And so it took a long time to get there. And so I'm gonna be honest with you, I had daddy issues. A lot of men don't say that. Yeah. But we won't admit it because as men, we're trying to find our own way, and we just think, And so I say, you know what? Maybe I can save some of these other kids from having those same issues. So because if they see somebody who really cares about them, then oh man, dang, this Coach Tay ain't playing about me for real. So man, you know what? It started like that. I was in position to and thank God I wasn't one of those rowdy kids to where like I'm gonna follow the crowd. So I just kind of stayed my own lane. I trust in God early, and man, that's just a blessing in itself.
I'll ask you this before Caleb jumps in or whatnot. I think you said a couple of things were very, very, very impactful, man. I think and I say this all the time. When I was growing up, you grow up in a neighborhood like Kansas City, Kansas, and you really don't know how handicapped you are as a young man when your father isn't around because nobody in the neighborhood has a father. So you don't really know that you're missing out on anything, right? Then you grow up and you start stumbling through life and you start, damn, I wish I had my father around to guide me through this situation or to give me some information about that or whatever. So you don't really see it. So it's hard to recognize that you have daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody else got them. Y'all all function in kind of the same way in the same neighborhood and stuff like that. But I think one thing that you said was impactful because I kind of lived my life the same way growing up was, I didn't really follow the in crowd, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Right. What was that about your mentality? And I think this is the part where it's going to be a great gem because this gives some other kids some insight. Because you see, everybody wants to follow. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to smoke. Everybody want to drink. Everybody want to follow along with the crowd. But the individual that's the CEO that's sitting here that's starting his own company, companies. You know what I'm saying? These guys are individuals. So what makes you individuals? What is that makeup that these kids can develop that keeps them from going astray to these other areas?
Man, I would say this. I recognized early on, I said, you know what? I'm going through all these different things, and I looked in the mirror, and I said, I knew I had daddy issues when I looked in the mirror, and I said, I got to hold myself accountable. I got to hold myself accountable. Because my whole life, what I was doing, I was blaming my father for not doing this. I was blaming my father because I didn't have this or because I didn't have that. Instead of looking at the positives and say, hey, dang, my mother's doing a hell of a job. You know, she's doing a hell of a job. So, and in that sense, I say, you know what, I got to be better for me. I got to be better for me. And so I wanted better. I knew what I wanted out of life, and I said, I'm getting that. I'm getting that, and ultimately, what it boils down to is, if you don't hold yourself accountable, then it'll be a downhill spiral. And so I told myself, I said, you know what, in my book, Transformation Obligation.
And most of y'all. Better perspective for me, so I can only imagine the books that he writes and the words that he.
Name some of them.
So I have a variety of different books that I'm working on. I'm working on a kid book with a cousin of mine called Pity and Me, and it's about this one young boy, and he has a variety of different diverse friends. And so that's just saying, hey man, don't box yourself in. You know what I mean? You never know who you're gonna meet. So we got that. I would say we have a Transformation Obligation, and that's just about leveling up in your happiness. And in that book itself, I kind of wrote this little sequence out, and I said, you know what, an individual with a toxic mindset unintentionally pours the foundation to their destiny without reviewing the blueprint. They instantly deny themselves the privilege of being a conqueror for the convenience of being a complainer. And so what I was doing is I was giving myself a reason to complain.
Slow down, bro.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on. So yeah, we're gonna rewind that back.
All right.
There's a few gems in there, and we promised y'all the truth, so we're gonna rewind
Most
it
definitely,
back.
most definitely.
Yeah, so break that down, brother.
Okay,
that was
so an individual with a toxic mindset, which basically means every day you wake up, you're looking for something negative. Unintentionally pours the foundation. You're laying out the plan.
You don't even know.
Laying out the plan. To their destiny without reviewing the blueprint. That means you didn't take, you so quick to go, boom, you didn't stop, put on your shoes, you didn't pray, you didn't do nothing, you just, boom, I'm going with it. So you're laying the foundation without reviewing the blueprint, and you instantly deny yourself the privilege of being a conqueror for the convenience of being a complainer. And so, man, that's
too much, bro.
Bro,
That's
listen,
too much.
I was doing that to myself, and I was doing that to myself.
Bro, you so right.
It's 100% true.
No, Max, bro, I was doing it to myself, and I said, until I said, hey, I want better, man, I'm on my time. Yeah. I'm on my time. And so I had to slow things down and say, hey, you know what? Well, God, whatever you got for me, I'm ready for it. That's it. You gotta approach it like that. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all, everything is temporary. The highs, the lows, that car you got, that nice car, that nice house, that's all temporary. So at some point, it's gonna get passed down. So I live in the moment and not by seconds. So I say, hey, I'm living in the moment. So I could wreck my car that day, right? And I had to realize that's a bad moment, not a bad day. I can't let nothing have that much power over me. So that's a bad moment. So when I start living in the moment, my life changed. My life changed because I'm no longer living by, one situation affects and determines the outcome of my whole day.
So let's break down some of these Jews, my man, just because he hitting us with a lot, man. So fellas, you know what I'm saying? And I know we talk about the relationships and we talk about, both sides, whose fault, men, women, this, that, and the third. But fellas, you know what I'm saying? He's saying the foundation of a good man is accountability. Oh, yeah. Right? For one, being optimistic and waking up with a plan and a sense of direction and structure to your life. Lay the foundation, you know what I'm saying? And complainers and people who make excuses get nowhere. You can't accomplish any of your goals if you're complaining. And you're right. It is very convenient to complain.
Oh, yeah.
It's an easy thing to do. Yeah.
You know, like I said, man, everything comes full circle. Like I said, I had a father, you know, I had a moment with my father, and he said, hey, son, I apologize. And that, man, let me tell you something. I was already over my daddy issues at that point, but just for him to come and apologize, because it was nice that I cried, bro. Like, dang, like what could I have been if you was there? But I'm right where I'm supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? so that's how I do it. But
so how did that, real quick, and I don't mean to cut you off, how did that make you feel in that moment where he apologized? Was it a legit apology, or was he speaking to the kid in you that made you?
Listen, man, my dad was there when he could be. You know, he was there when he could be. Inside his struggles. Was it some nights where he told me he was coming and didn't show up and I'm looking out the window? Yeah, of course it was. But he was battling something that was way bigger than me. And if we know anything, addiction, I don't care what you're addicted to, that's hard to break, right?
It's a fact.
Chocolate, wherever you're addicted to, that's hard to break. So addiction is real. So when I got mature enough to understand, like, oh man, he was battling something that was bigger than me. And so maybe, you know, I had everything I need, but forgiveness is powerful, man. Forgiveness will make you a better person. So, man, once I forgave him, guess what? I'll tell you this. My dad is the best grandfather he has ever been. To me, you know, versus being a father.
Yeah.
Best grandfather I've ever seen. I'm extremely grateful for his presence in my kid's life. Because that, you know, that's something I didn't have. And so I'm definitely grateful for that. But yeah, it definitely made me a better person.
But how did it, and just real quick, how did it make you feel, like, as far as him apologizing in that moment? Did you break? Did you release something, or was something set free in that moment, or was it just like
I had already had that conversation with myself and told myself, hey, I'm okay. Thank you. I apologize to him because I held a grudge towards him. You know, you never know what people are dealing with or battling. You know, you just don't know. Yeah. And so, man, listen, the best thing you can do, I would rather forgive you and know that, hey, we can have something great later. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, I would rather have that greatness later, if that's what it means, because I'm a firm believer that what is will certainly be. Yeah. And so it'll all come full circle. What's meant for you is for you.
And the only reason why I asked that, I had a moment like that where everybody kind of know my story, where I was on a podcast and it blew up, where I talked about my pops, and it came to a moment where my dad was like, you know what, I wasn't the dad for you that I needed to be. Yeah. And the only thing, it took me to a dark place, like my mind literally went into a tunnel, and the only thing I could see is like this little kid in his room just twiddling his fingers, you know what I'm saying, not having nobody, not, you know, knowing how to be a man, somebody who you look at other kids and you envy, like when their dad buys them their first car. And literally, you see yourself in, like, I seen myself in, like, shackles, bro. Like, that small kid in me was like, literally, the moment he said that, and I truly forgave in that moment.
Oh, most definitely.
My life changed.
Most definitely. But here's the thing: is when that's one of the things you try to seek out what you were missing.
Yeah.
And so that's why you become such great men. Because you try to seek out what you're missing, and you say, but you're gonna make those mistakes. You got to bump your head sometimes. Yeah. But I'll say this, man. A lot of kids are trying to find that. They're missing that. They're trying to find that. And so that's what's most important. That's why I said, man, like, it's a struggle, but I'm here.
Right. Speak on, so we stay on the subject, because I think that was powerful, Caleb. Thank you for sharing. So talk about the importance of a child having a relationship with their father.
Oh, yeah.
Or a father-like type figure. Why is that so impactful?
I think that first and foremost, I don't want to take anything away from women. Women are powerful.
Absolutely.
But you can't do it alone. Yeah. You know, you can't do it alone. And sometimes I think, you know, we've all had that moment to where even me as just being a father, I'm like, dang, I might have yelled at my kid or this. Is it a better way I could have did that? Or should I am I thinking too much into this or situations? But it comes from the upbringing and all that good stuff, right? So I think it's critical that fathers are necessary. You see what I'm saying? That are involved, because ultimately what happens is you get both sides. You can kind of see how a child is going to be one way or another. You see what I'm saying? But no, it's a man is going to hold you accountable. A mama's going to nurture you. It's a big difference. Absolutely. It's a big difference, and so that tough love is definitely needed. You know, so I'll tell you like this, believe it or not, yes. Parents come down, you too harsh on my baby. No, he needs that. Yeah. I got a kid right now he made straight Fs. His mama showed me his grade card, straight Fs. I said, hey, put me on his school information. I'm gonna go up there and check on him. Mm-hmm. This kid had been with me for 2 years. This will be his 3rd year this year. He made straight A's. We got him into a better school.
Dope.
That's the impact you have as a father, as a father figure.
Absolutely.
It's the little things.
Absolutely. Just being present, just being around, change the kid's entire motivation.
It wasn't that he was not capable.
Right.
He was unwilling.
Right.
Because of his circumstances. He didn't have anybody to push him. He didn't have anybody to show him that, hey, I love you, man. I got you.
Absolutely.
I love you enough to where I'm gonna come up here and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the one thing about it, I used to be that kid. Mama, she just don't like me. Well, if every teacher is saying the same thing, then you're the common denominator. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of like, man, listen, hold yourself accountable, be better than you was yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always tell we're direct one, but we say D1 Panthers. I always tell them the D is different, the 1 is rare. You got to be that rare 1.
There we go.
I need you to be that rare 1 for me.
Absolutely.
That means you can't do what your friends do. You can't move how everybody else moving. I always tell, another thing I tell them, I say, you got somewhere to be. Mm-hmm. You got somewhere to be.
Right.
And that means basically you got a journey ahead of you. Don't get sidetracked, because anything can pull you away.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that's that.
So that father brings structure and accountability is the foundation of that, man. I think that's so dope, man. And I think that, it also helps our children to escape that victimization, that victimhood. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a victim. Because one of the things, and I'm sure you get it all the time, man. So I used to, teach and be in the, behavioral health and school system and all that different type of stuff, man. And the constant theme you continue to see is, oh man, I'm not about to go work and slave for the white man. Yeah. It's a system and structure set up against me. Why am I gonna waste my time there? I'm gonna go to the streets and I gotta feed my family. And so you're already inbred that you're a victim. You're behind the 8 ball. You're black. You don't stand a chance if you go out here and you work a 9 to 5 and you go get it the hard way, whatever the case may be. So why even try? So a lot of them never get past go because they've already adopted the toxic mind frame. I'm a victim, you know what I'm saying? And this is the only way I'm gonna go get it. And then they justify it. It's like I call it the Robin Hood theory. Rob from the rich, and give to the poor, whatever the case may be. So basically, in the suburbs, it's considered wrong to steal. If you go to the ghetto, if you're stealing to feed your family, it's okay. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's that mentality. So it's the same thing with selling drugs. I mean, I justify this because I'm feeding my family by selling drugs. When you can go work at 7-Eleven or McDonald's, you know what I'm saying, and combine them 2 jobs and make an honest living, and ain't got to worry about the police dragging you off to jail.
What I would say with that is, it's so many different ways to hustle nowadays.
Yeah. It really
drugs
is.
to be the last thing you transition to.
It's a fact. That's
you mean? What happened when COVID hit? We gonna find a way. Our people gonna find either way. We gonna find a way.
Facts.
That's it. Yeah. That's why you see so many businesses doing what they doing and booming. At this moment. So it's different ways, man. We always gonna find a way to maneuver through the system.
Yeah.
Don't let anything hold you down. But I always tell people this: there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with trying to stand up all night and chasing those dreams. Mm-hmm. Do what works for you. Do what's best for you.
And I say this just for that, clear that up, because I'm gonna let Caleb jump in here. Look, I love all my brothers. The brothers in the streets, the brothers working at 9 to 5, this, that, and the third. Young brothers, who may still be in that lifestyle, whatever, man. I love you guys. I just don't want you guys taken away from your family. That system is set up. That system in the street. Do you realize that they pay $1 billion a year in informants in the streets? Oh yeah. The government pays $1 billion out to street informants a year. Yeah. Right? This is something that TK Kirkland talked about on a Vlad podcast or whatever. It's big business. Oh, yeah. So 9 times out of 10, the homie that you think you running around town doing this, that, and the third, he's on payroll, bruh. Yeah. And it's a system set up to have you taken straight to jail. So I just don't want to see my young brothers and fathers taken away from their children. Find another option. It's set up again. Now that's the system and structure that's set up against you to lose.
I think you have to take into consideration, before I do anything, I take this into consideration. I say, you know what? How will this affect those who love me? Mm-hmm. I think we don't ever stop to do that, because guess what? 2 things for certain, you know what I mean? Change is consistent, right? And death is certain. But we try, let's prolong that. Let's try to prolong that if we can. So the decisions when you wake up and you're gonna make those decisions, that could have an effect on your life. All you gotta do is get in the car with somebody, the wrong somebody, they go do something, and that affects you, your family. It affects you, then it affects your family. It's a domino effect. It is. You see what I'm saying? Ain't no come back from death.
But that's not the mentality of today, man. You know, it's all these ideologies out here floating around that's telling everybody. And self-preservation, I think, is cool. You know what I'm saying, or whatever, to a certain extent. Yeah. But we still got to think about us, the community, building up our brothers, definitely. Carrying our brothers across the finish line or whatever. Because you can't just have this all about me mentality. And it's get the bag, right? Drop your morals, get the bag. Don't worry about anything else. And that seems to be the mentality floating around in society.
And I agree, bro. It's different ways to hustle. Yeah. Like I heard a battle rapper say, "Is your money being long worth your lifespan being shorter?"
Thanks. One of my favorites, Loaded Lux.
Loaded Lux.
That was a quote by Loaded Lux.
Is your money being long worth your life being shorter?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh God.
Listen, man, my thing is
that is so true though. Like
facts.
When you actually think about, of course, streets and everybody making up the excuses, and we always say this: it's two things. You end up in dead in jail, bro. You really want that for your life? Yeah. And think about, just like you said, the effect that it got on your family, bro, is massive. So we're gonna go into the next segment, bro. So
all right. Welcome back to the Gym Dropping Podcast. So now in part of this segment, you know, what we're gonna kind of dive into. So as you guys know, we kind of have a relationship-based platform here where we'll dive into some, you know, important topics in regards to relationships. And so we're going to touch on that with Coach Tay here in just a minute. And so Kansas City, as you guys know, gets a bad rap for dating. But my man, did you find your queen here in Kansas City?
I did.
Okay, and tell us about the origin of that process of locating and courting your queen, who is today now your wife.
You know what? I was blessed, man, to where it kind of just fell in my lap. You know, we've been together since we were, you know, 6th grade, and so, and I would say this, you know, something like that is that's the hardest thing to do, because I think people got this idea, especially with social media, how it makes it seem that it's supposed to be beautiful. It's just supposed to be great all the time. You know, you're supposed to be just happy all the time. And that's not it, man. You got to fight. You got to battle with that thing. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, with us particularly, our story is a little bit different because we started, you know, dating when we were kids, and then we grew up to be, you know, adults. And so, in doing that, what happens is I transitioned to a man. She transitioned towards a woman. And you guys say, dang, do I still love you the same? Is this still here? Because we're different. We have to learn each other. And in the process, man, I always say this, man, I have a little quote that I say. It's basically, you don't know somebody until you know somebody. Okay. And that to me personally, I say that means that you don't know somebody until they do something that you wouldn't expect them to do. I tell my wife all the time, I hope I never know you. Okay. Because as a person, you're always, you might find, as you grow, you're gonna find something that you like every day, or something that so it should always be something new that I'm learning about you. But our story is a little different because we started so young and we had to transition to this, and it's some battles in between that. And man, it's definitely a roller coaster ride. But one thing about it, man, nothing that I'm doing today is possible without my wife. You know, nothing that I'm accomplishing, writing books, is possible without my wife. It's kind of, it's all about balance. You have to complement each other. So early on, I was working 3 and 4 jobs just to make ends meet. She would go to school. We had our child or everything like that. So that was my way of supporting her. And at the time, she was just working at Kmart, you know, making $12 an hour, you know. So it was nothing, you know. So, but it paid off because now she makes a great salary. She's living the goal, you know, she's living the goal. And at this point right now, like, how am I able to be a coach and write books and travel and do it? Because I have a great support system in my wife to where I can step back and do these things, because now she's picking up the slack. So I don't really, like, man, I say with marriage, do what's best for you, do what works for you. And I always say this, one thing about it is, you know how you see these people, oh, men's supposed to pay 100%, no, it's supposed to be 50-50. Do what works for you. That's the only way. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Do what works for you. If it works, if whatever you guys come to the conclusion, hey, this works best for us, do that.
Do that. Don't. And that's the thing is we're so tied up in social media, man, that we get lost of. We're trying to keep up with that type of stuff.
Well, tell me this: what advice would you give to a young man who desires a wife one day? How does he approach that? What advice would you give him if he's looking to try to find his queen, his wife one day? How does he go about that process?
Stop looking.
Okay.
Stop looking.
Okay.
Focus on where you're trying to go. And because guess what? We're on this journey. God already has it set up.
Okay.
Focus on where you're trying to go and let her come to you. You gonna know when you see her. That's one of the things you're gonna know when you see her. And when you see her, keep her.
Okay.
Those things you was doing before, like everybody say, keep doing that. You got.
So you think you shouldn't look?
No, man, no.
Why not?
Why you want to go look for someone God already done? What are you going to look for?
Because if you want to go biblical terms, it say when a man finds a wife, he find a good thing.
Right. But
so you have to find.
You're going to find her.
How?
Here's the thing.
How?
Okay, let me tell you this.
If you're not in a search,
I think that it's like this. So of course y'all know she's not a wife when you meet her. She's already there, right? Okay. Right? She's already a wife.
But I agree about that, brother.
So guess what? On your journey, when you're intentionally going to go find her, going to go seeking this,
you know what? My bad. I kind of agree with you. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'll let you go on and then I'll let you know why. With you, my bad.
Just follow that path that God has for you, and when it's that time, it'll come. Man, everything's full circle. It'll come your way. It'll come your way, and you will see it. Whether it's at a reunion or a wedding, you will know when you see her. I promise you that. Yeah. And when you go ahead, I'll let you go ahead.
And you know what? I honestly, I wasn't looking for my wife. I was young.
Yeah.
I just knew she was my wife, though.
Yeah.
You know, actually, if I'm being honest, I can't sit here and say, well, what this says, and if it didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
My wife messaged me.
Yeah.
We was in 6th grade, and she came back and messaged me and was like, hey, how you been, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I was just like.
And it's been up since then,
It's been up.
You see what I'm saying?
It's been up.
So, man, like, listen, I'll say chase that success, chase whatever God has for you, and on that route, He's going to put that in place for you.
I would say this just for the, because you guys were very fortunate, and I think you guys are very blessed to have the women you guys have in you guys' life. Newsflash, I'm single. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, but anybody want my boy?
Yeah, let's go.
But it's something similarity because I got a friend of mine, man. He kind of tells me the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like really. You want to be focused on your purpose more than you are a woman or whatever. But I would say if you happen to come across that woman and y'all come across each other's path, the things that I would say look for is character and discipline.
Yeah.
Just like I look for that in any individual. You know what I'm saying? Right? Character is, I know how she gonna be when she fight. You know what I'm saying? Is she gonna be the one that's gonna slash my tires or try to, defame me in court?
What are you like when you're upset?
What you like when you upset, all those things fall into your character, right?
Most definitely.
When I get you upset, are you gonna be that type of person that's gonna try to stab me in the back or cut me low?
Have you healed from those past traumas?
Have you healed from the past traumas, right? Discipline in the individuals. Okay, do you take care of business? Do you have enough discipline to tell a man no when he's approaching you or coming up on you? You got discipline to take care of the household or take care of business. Whatever that may be. She got her stuff together as far as she takes care of business, right? And discipline is the essence of that or whatever, right? So those are the two characters I would say if you're in a position like me and you come across that individual in your path, make sure the character and the discipline is on.
You know what? Some people I always say this, man. We're all different in our own way, So what you look for may not be what somebody else looks for. So that's why we say don't ever box it in because the characters you're looking for might be some people. The happiest people are the brokest people. They be sitting there and listen. I don't smoke or anything like that, but they'll smoke and that's all they need. And then later on, you see a lot of those they blossom together. So I say, make sure that you're looking for the quality. Find the qualities that you want in a woman, right? Make sure you find those qualities that you want in a woman. Whether you like, some people like that toxic stuff. Me, no, you know what I mean? No. But maybe some people, maybe y'all can grow together and grow out of that. But you just never know what somebody's looking for. So I always say, like, listen, I might not like what you like. You might not like what I like. So, but I will say this: look beyond the looks. Look beyond the looks, because some of the most beautiful women that take care of business and
absolutely.
And then I was too. Don't be afraid of those women who with kids. Here's why I say this, because the women with kids are some of the most, they take care of business, they do what they're supposed to do, and ultimately that might be the one for you. Early on, they got somewhere in life they got screwed. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. Early on, they were young and they probably had kids by somebody that they had no business sleeping with or giving themselves to. But they did it because they're young. It's a life lesson. We're not perfect.
Absolutely. And I think you also you're shortening the pool of women in which you date from. You know what I'm saying? That pool gets smaller. You know what I'm saying? So if you restrict yourself from dating women who have children, you don't have very many to choose from when it's already difficult out here to date.
Your standards is up here, but your personal quality is right here.
Yeah, I agree.
You see what I'm saying? It's got to balance out. But, man, it's just one of those things. Listen, when you find her on your path, because we're all on a journey somewhere, and it's going to be some highs and lows in that journey. Again, like I was telling you, that it's full circle. It's one of those things to where you have to make sure that's what you want. You can't renege on that. You got to make sure that's what you want. So when you know that that's what you want, guess what you have to have after that? Marriage maintenance. You have to floss.
Okay.
And what I mean by floss, right? You know what I mean by, I'm not talking about brush your teeth. Most bad breath comes from a lack of flossing. You can brush all day long, have the prettiest white teeth, but if you're not flossing. So I'll say this. So marriage can look good on social media. It can look good. Y'all can just come home, but if you're not doing the little things, hey, how was your day? Let me massage your feet. Have we prayed together? That's what I call flossing. So in my book, Marriage Maintenance, that's one of the things I touch on. Like, hey, man, you have to floss. Okay. You have to touch and get in dip in the crevices of those things. Because women have issues and they won't speak on it. They just, but they was good.
Yeah.
And then and the whole time it's a problem, but she's not gonna inform you of that problem because guess what? Us as men, we already carry a whole lot on our shit. So a woman say, I don't want to put that extra burden on you.
And then also too, I'll say this while we on that subject too. One thing I've been coming across just in the dating world, man, that's what a woman that's part of what a woman means when she says she feels safe. Right? Is that she is in an environment that she feels comfortable enough to conversate with you about the tough conversations and stuff. She feels safe as if there's going to be no critique, no judgment about what she's going to bring to you. When you deliver it back to her, it's going to be under a calm, you know what I'm saying, presence. Okay, how's he going to react to me asking him about this or telling him that?
But I like your idea of floss. I think that's real cool. But what if it's some cavities back there? Them cavities be them traumas. What we do about that and speak on that? Because you know what I'm saying? I'm about to charge you for putting that in your book.
That's dope. That's dope.
Because those are, in order to fix a cavity, it's either you get pulled or you get them filled. You get them clean and get them filled. So I mean, if we're talking about trauma and of course building it up, making it look all good on social media, what do we do in that aspect of as far as a man, your wife has past traumas, right? You go in a relationship with that. How does a man deal with such?
Sometimes you gotta dive deep in that thing and put a crown on it.
Boy, you slick.
Right.
Here's what I mean by that. Sometimes you just gotta face it head on, and if you're a real one, you like, okay, I'm gonna handle that. We gonna work through this together. We gonna dig all that stuff out of there, and we gonna crown it. And that's how you put a king, a crown, crown your king, your queen, because of what you've been through, what you grow. I always say what you grow through, because you gotta have growing pains. Everybody wants the trial without the error. I want it all. Give me the trial with the error, so I know it's great. So I know it's good later on. And so the thing is, man, that makes you better. That makes you stronger. Truth be told is my wife knows me better than my mama. Your wife know you better than your mama. She's going to be the closest thing to you. So yeah, we're going to dig in there. We're going to see what we got to deal with. We're going to tackle it head on. Cool. We need therapy. Cool. Stop being afraid to go to therapy. Go to therapy, okay? There's nothing wrong with that.
You know what? There was a point where my wife told me that we should go to therapy, and it wasn't anything bad. And I always be like, it's nothing that big to go to, but this was what I was saying. It's nothing that big to go to therapy, but I was scared of change.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we've been in marriage, this was probably 6, maybe we've been married going on 11 years. This was probably year 7. I was scared to change. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like with daddy issues and past traumas that I would not know who I am if I change. Yes. And one thing that I do believe in is when a woman is asking you to change, it's not a bad thing.
She's really
asking you to evolve. That's all.
It's not a disrespectful thing for a person to say, hey, I think you should change this. And I always be like, well, you should change this. It's not.
It's deflecting.
That's just gonna be a battle back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Change is okay. It is fine, bro. So now if she was to actually ask me, which I believe our marriage is going really good, man, I thank God for it. But if she was to say, hey, I just think we need some kinks to work out, I'd definitely do it.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Because I should, as a husband, I should be able to do that for her no matter what.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing I was going to touch on too, man, which y'all brought up but that's powerful, by the way, but what both of y'all just shared. But yeah, so it looks like there's trauma on both sides. So we got to be patient with each other because so I'm bringing some trauma to the table. She's going to be bringing in a little bit of trauma together, you know what I'm saying? And not be afraid to get some help together to help us process through our trauma together, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's what
I heard something so cold. I heard right. I heard something so cold. It was and to simplify it, it's simply, I'm not the problem, you're not the problem. The problem is the problem, and we have to work together to solve the problem. That's all it is. And it was so true. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up in the macho-ness of a man, like you know, like I don't want the same sister I want, because we got to be hard all the time. Ain't nothing wrong with showing love, man. Nothing wrong with showing a little grace, a little mercy. Nothing wrong with that, and especially towards your spouse.
Man, that's the crazy thing about it, bro.
Because you're not in competition anymore,
brother.
She sees you as who you are as a man.
Y'all on the same team, and I didn't realize that because like my wife would be like, I want to cuddle. I used to be like, man, it just used to be stupid stuff. Yeah. Now I go home, I may be the toughest person on the court, the baddest attitude, talk disrespect, but when I come home to my wife, I'm a kid, bro. I get under the covers. I be like this all on her, bro. I'm telling you, but it's becoming safe.
It's your safe place.
Exactly. It's something different, bro. And she'll tell you like, golly, boy, you done did a whole, bro. Yeah. This is probably something, not even probably, this is something that I've been needing for the longest. I just been holding that personality in jail because I thought it would mess up my masculinity of me being like, you know what I'm saying? But I tell people now, boy, when I'm playing basketball, my wife be like, dinner ready. I already know what time it is. I'm gone.
Time to go.
Everybody in the gym know. My phone go, bling. Mike Berry, he picked up my phone. He was like, hey, bro, your wife, this is what he said. He was like, Caleb finna go home. I was like, nah, I got one more game. Look at your phone. Dinner ready. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Yeah. I was like, it changed me, bro. Like once I unlocked that, it was just to a point where it was just like, it ain't no going back now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She got me whole now. And I feel like I held that away from her. You know what I'm saying? Because of me, I wanted to be so masculine and be that husband, that father, and I didn't give her the soft side to me. So she actually thought like, you have no feelings at all. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it was all because of past trauma. Like I used to tell people all the time, I felt like my dad or daddy issues walked out on him. And I used to tell him, bro, you cannot hurt me more than the person helped create me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can never hurt me as bad as that person did. You know what I'm saying? You can never get past, you can never jump over those feelings again because I'm not going to let you have that much control over me to do so. Yeah. But once she had that, she just and she cherished it dearly. Like, and that means the world to her. That makes her feel more of a woman, a wife, because she unlocked that in me, bro. And this is masculinity, bro. I'm telling you, bro, realize it is okay to unlock that for your lady, especially for your wife, bro, because it's different. Your relationship become way better.
Oh yeah. Man, you know what? I feel uneased on what's happening, because now it's like the women are getting harder. You know, the young ladies are getting harder and feel like they got to act harder. And you see what I'm saying? And so, man, listen. And so that takes away from what. And so that takes away from what, you know, the future could be for young men, you know. And so it's like just basically like roles are reversing, it seems, you know.
Okay, so tell me, in today's dating atmosphere, how does a more masculine woman, how does that conflict in a relationship? Do you see that as any conflict at all?
You know what? This goes back to doing what works for you, because I've seen, you know, I used to DJ a lot of weddings.
Okay.
I've seen some really weird couples, and like, oh, they're working this out. Anything is possible. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the women like to take charges. Everybody has their own thing, but I would say this: we live in a society today, man, where if my wife wants me, I'll cook. Mm-hmm. There is no role in my house. What needs to be done will get done. Right. And so it's when it all boils down, it's, hey, can we perform together? Can we get, and it's basically a business. That's what it is. It's a business. Marriage is a business. And when it all boils down to it, it's like, hey, do we have this? Do we have this? Do we have all these components? And I was having a conversation with my wife. I said, hey, I'm sending the kids away, and I just want you to understand that I want to see how we conduct ourselves. You know, I do this often. I say I want to make sure that we can still manage without them, because ultimately what happens is they'll leave and we'll be looking at each other. I don't want to just be looking at you like this, right? I want to have fun. I want to enjoy our life.
Right. Yeah, that's 100% true.
Let's not base our marriage on kids that we have, because they're going to grow up, right? They're going to leave and create their own families. And so, man, I say this: do what works best for you. It's somebody for everybody. Yeah. You know, and you got to just find that somebody.
But could you have two alpha males in the house?
There's no such thing.
Why is it not? It's not displaying dominance. I'm just saying someone who leads the pack. That's all I'm saying. Are you saying two individuals who are dominant in what they're doing? No, I'm going back to your question. Your question was. Say it again. My bad.
You were bringing up that the emergence of masculinity and more women who are taking on more masculine energy and more masculine roles, and I was just asking, like, basically, how does that affect modern day relationships? Okay. And so, you know,
would that be two alpha males? So basically, roles is switched.
Well, personally, I'm feeling what you're saying, because I think that when you do have a covenant with somebody, it's about getting it done, right? Mm-hmm. However, I do believe that it should be a yin and a yang, a day and a night. You know what I'm saying? And just because we're built different, men and women, right? You know, doesn't mean our roles are any less valuable to the business, you know, so to speak, or whatever the case may be. So what you bring to the table, so I could be the CEO. You could be the janitor, but nobody comes into the business if the floors ain't clean. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you this. You know, let's keep it real.
I'll tell you this. When I'm not there, when I'm not around, it gets done the same as if I'm around. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's one of the things is, can you manage everything that I'm doing when I'm not here? And the thing is, you can take that leadership role. You know what I mean? You can take that leadership role, but when my wife understands that, hey, talk to your husband. Talk to your father. Mm-hmm. She knows. My kids know the difference. Mm-hmm. It's so, like, again, I think it almost in this day and age, I think it has to be that structure where y'all have a great communication and understand with each other. But ultimately, I don't really believe in roles, man. I just think get it done and let's work for the business. And there's no such. I think when we take it too far, we'll say, "Oh, I'm the dominant one." I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm not that. And I agree with you. I don't agree with the whole dominance thing, but I do believe in a leader.
No, my wife understands that. Yeah.
So that's what that's where I'm coming from.
Listen, she's a leader when I'm not around, and I'm the leader that I need to be. She's a leader that I need her to be, and I'm also the leader. So let's say this. Let's go back to the whole the finance thing, right? Yeah. Yeah. So if my wife is probably not as good as I am as budgeting money, right? You know. Or maybe my wife, in this case, my wife is great at budgeting and making sure money is saved up now because we went through this whole series. She's the best thing at it. I'm more of a spender. She's a saver. Yeah. So if that's something that I know she's good at, why am I gonna take that away if she's good at it? Right. I don't care about saying, hey, I'm the guy, so I need to make sure the money is. Right. She's good.
Right, exactly.
If that's the role she takes home, then great, excellent. If she can do it, efficiently.
And this is where I think you're exactly right. I completely, totally agree with what you're saying. You're right. It's about getting a wise man knows he doesn't know everything.
I love to cook.
You know what I mean?
I love to cook.
Right.
I do most of the cooking.
Yeah.
But if I'm tired, my wife gonna get in that. She cool. She got dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about balance. But when it comes down to it, somebody at the door. Mm-hmm. That's where leadership steps. Hey, all right, bet. Right. It's the little things, that makes men a men. Mm-hmm. So it's not about what you're doing as far as if your wife submits to you, then you automatically know.
And I think submission, I think submission goes both ways.
Yeah, facts. It does. And that's what I think I was more leaning towards. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a dominant man and I'm just going, hey, you need to get in there and cook. You need to do that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying my wife looks at me as that leader to lead a family. Now, are you saying that you can lead a family as far as, how can I say it? Because there was a topic where Dwayne Wade said he feel like he lets his wife take on that role. And I don't know if I can do that. As a man.
I'm not even going to say, listen, I'm not going to listen.
So that's where I'm getting at as far as where I was just like,
here's my thing is, if that's what works for their family, let's say that his wife is taking a break and she's mostly off, and he's gone all the time. Maybe he's still hustling and make money. She has no choice but to take on that role for the kids, so the kids can see that. Yeah. But I don't want to touch on that topic because guess what? Everybody lives their life how they live their life. You feel me? So me personally, I just think that let's say my daughter, I'm gonna go get your daddy. My kids straighten up like that. They know what it,
That's
what.
All I'm
hey,
saying.
What's that slogan they say? Something that doesn't need to be said doesn't need to be explained, or whatever it is.
What's understood?
What's understood? Yeah.
Don't need to be.
What's understood don't need to be explained. That's that.
Yeah.
So when you have that, my wife understands that. Hey, if I feel strongly about something, it's a strong no. Okay, I got you. Yeah. That's it. That's it. If I'm uneased about it, and it works both ways. If you're uneased about something, hey, okay, cool. Okay.
Sorry. So when we talk about this subject, and I agree with everything you're saying, but most women out here is basically saying they want a leader. So that's where I'm asking you: and I'm not saying it disrespectful. Are you here and your woman's right beside you? Or are you here and I don't even know how to explain it because
I'm not in back her. Listen.
No, I got you, brother. I
you know what I'm saying? So
she's right beside.
Okay, so if a robber comes in your house, do she stand right beside you or do you stand in front of her?
If a robber come in my house,
yes,
he ain't gonna get an opportunity. As soon as we hear that door,
So who goes? That's all I'm saying. As being a provider, a protector, a leader, that this is. I'm finna protect home. So that's all I'm saying as far as that leader aspect. Because a leader will take on a person who basically defending their pack. It's just like a lion. He has to, that's all I'm saying when it comes to leader.
In addition to that, also too, I think we're, us as men, we misunderstand the concept of leadership. Leaders provide structure, right?
There it is.
This is how we run our household, right? When we go outside of the household, this is how we conduct ourselves.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? To represent the family name, right?
Exactly.
They create those structures and boundaries, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So, where I'm starting to see where the conflict comes in with the women that, you know, are wanting to project and come up and take a lot of this masculine energy or bask in this masculine energy is where you want to kind of destroy or eliminate the double standards that actually have benefits to both parties, men and women, right? And it's like, okay, men get to do it. How come I can't? Let's eliminate these double standards. How come I can't sleep with as many, you know, men as I want to, and you look down upon me or whatever the case may be? I want to bask in that masculine energy. Well, you got to understand what's strong does not need protection. Because so if I look at you as my equal, you know what I'm saying, and you another lion, I'm not protecting another lion.
That's all
right?
I'm saying.
I'm not picking up or opening the door for another lion. I'm not pulling out the seat for another lion. You know what I'm saying?
Where does that come into play? And really this question would this is more of a woman thing, because you got to understand something, that a woman, how her perception and perspective of you is everything.
Yeah.
Facts.
And that's where that takes place. A woman already knows who it is and what it is. So if you get in there strong enough as a young man or a man or whatever you're trying to do, and you're building a relationship with a woman, she's gonna test you to see if that's really who you say you are. She got to know that, okay, cool, you can protect her. You gonna look out for her. She might say, hey, women will test you all the time like, hey, dang, I ain't got no gas. What you gonna do? She just trying to see how you gonna.
All right, we back. So this is the segment, bro, where we go red. I know I probably didn't tell you about the red.
You did.
Red
Let's
is
go
pretty
up.
much, it's not hard, but it is a burning question. So my question to you would be, in marriage, what is one thing that you had to change that helped your relationship grow? That you had to look in the mirror and was just like, it was a hard decision for you to make, but it was necessary.
I would say that's a pretty hard question. I like that. Listen, I think that because we started so early, one of the things that I did, I was like, hey, I was a boy. At some point, I had to grow up and give this woman, because she was a woman way before I became a man. So I said, dang, I have to be on her level. Because guess what? Now it looks like she's the leader, because she's doing everything right? And I'm just watching. I'm like, oh no, I got to catch up. So I think that's one of the things, like, I had to look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I got to get off this boy stuff and grow up and really take care of my business. I can't leave her out here on the boat by herself. Yeah. So that's one of the things, just looking myself in the mirror and saying, hey, how can I be better for her? So, yeah.
Okay, so one more. When you look at your wife, y'all face to face, what do you see?
Oh, man, I see my world right there. Just because, dude, it does not function without her. And so as much as I want to be the guy that says, hey, everything was just run, because that ain't it, man. Everything is because of her, man. That's the thing. And so, like, even that in itself is a blessing. Make sure, listen, a woman will make sure that your kids are straight. A good woman gonna make sure the kids are straight. She gonna make sure you straight. Yeah. And the thing is, she puts herself last. And so for me, I had to say, you know what? I need her to get that time to herself. I need to take on more of this burden of being a parent, because it's the same. So it's, again, once I found that balance and say, you know what? That made me a better father. It made me a better husband. It all transitioned into this one thing. So just by changing that one action and saying, hey, I need to be more available, more available to her, because it doesn't work if you're not available. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I said, yeah, I'm gonna change this.
That's fire. So we finna wrap up, and I know you got something special. What's one thing that you would leave to the world?
Do it today. Don't wait. I'll tell you this real quick. You got two people in life. Again, these is back to my principles. You got two people in life. You have risk takers, and then you have conservative people. So those conservative people is like, oh, well, I'll wait to take this vacation. I'll wait to take this vacation. Let me ask y'all a question, and I'm gonna turn the script on y'all. If you knew that you were gonna expire next week, with the decisions you make, change? The decisions you make today, would they change ultimately going forward, right? Yeah, they would. So let me ask you this. Life is not certain to us tomorrow. So why not live in today and make those decisions today? It's risky. Everything is risky.
It's risky.
It's all risky. Yeah. Why not do it today? Why not live in that manner? And I'm not saying you have to go full blown risk, but risk it just enough to where you say, hey, the one thing I don't want to do is leave this life with regret. I don't want to be that woulda, shoulda, coulda. I tell people I love them because I do. I'm a love kind of guy. You see what I'm saying? So I would tell you I love you because guess what? Like tomorrow's not promised. So I don't want you to be like Caleb, like, dang, I should have went to go see him. No, do it today. If that's what you want to go do, you want to take that cruise, do it today.
Well, before we wrap up, if you didn't have anything else, before you got out of here, my brother, I wanted to personally thank you for your contribution to our community. We need more brothers out there like you. You know what I'm saying? And I can appreciate that you are a giver and not a taker from our community, man. And we need more brothers like you. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate that.
That's 100%. And that's kind of the thing where we talked about already, where you're changing the narrative. Most people always say, well, like you said, pretty much going to work, and as far as people getting killed like that, we don't know how to change it. And for you to create a program, it's huge. Yeah. You're literally out there doing that, creating something that can solve a problem. You know what I'm saying? Especially within the youth. Yeah. You doing that.
And let me say this, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Just because you
are here and you're doing of your community, don't mean you can't still have fun. You can have fun. You can still be who you are. You can still. I'm a diverse type kind of guy. You see what I'm saying? So when I say I write books for kids, I write books for this. I also write adult books. You see what I'm saying? So because I like to be well-rounded, right? And so that's kind of one of the things. And then I brought the book along because I had to bring a book. You feel me? So it's called Touching the Pastor's Wife. And it really just came to me. It's more of a, like I said, everybody got their way of ministering, you know what I mean? And so it's more of my way of saying, oh, you know what? Sometimes God got to put you in a small pond to magnify him. Absolutely. And so I said, I wrote my book. I'm going to tell you guys something. And y'all didn't get the actual right question. I'm going to leave y'all something. So basically, I wrote this book out of the back of my car. My wife had left me. She was ready to divorce. And this is when I said I got to look in the mirror and be a better man. She was ready to divorce me. So I spent 7 months in the back of my car, and I wrote this book. And then that changed my life. So that's one of the things where I said, okay, cool. Why the title? Yeah, I know. Look, it's a title. So it's interesting. So that's kind of where that came from. But, man, I did this, and a lot of it really helped me become a better person. Writing is therapeutic to me. So that's where I got,
Coach Tay, brother. Appreciate you. Author, CEO, businessman, mentor, man, mogul out here getting it, man. Give it to the community, man. Appreciate you coming in, brother.
Sir. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
And the last thing I would say, take 30 seconds. What's one thing that you want to say to your family?
Oh, love you, man. That's it. Y'all know what it is. I love you. Yeah, man, keep grinding. Just because we don't see each other, you know what I mean? Don't mean the love ain't there. Just keep doing, everybody doing their thing. Just keep doing your thing. Coach Tay, DL, Deontay, whatever you will call me, whatever you know me by, I got love for you. So
there we go.
So we appreciate it, bro. I'll let DeLon wrap it up because y'all already know what it is.
Yeah, most definitely.
Our platform, our opinion, your problem, but you're going to get this truth. Gem Dropping Podcast. We out.
There you go.
I speak the truth when I step in a room. Don't need an excuse. Know how I do, yeah. I be dropping gems. Gem dropping gems. Gem dropping. I speak the truth when I step in a room. Don't need an excuse. Know how I